vlog, everybody. Another great day out here in Texas, and well, I'm like 1 day behind on vlogs. I skipped 1 day, so I'm gonna go 31 days instead of 30. Completely my fault, but I'm going through a lot of training out here, and with that being said, it requires a bunch of attention. I mean, like a bunch of attention to what's really going on. So, yeah, we Mike, the CFI, he's actually called in Cutter. Cutter's bringing some fuel over here, and we'll get this thing fueled up, and we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep logging some hours today. Last night we did some nighttime flying, and so basically in this video, what I'm gonna show you all is actually like what exactly, kind of what exactly is going on with learning how to fly a helicopter, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do by like no stretch of the imagination whatsoever. So yeah, it's a beautiful day out here. I don't know what the temperature is. I mean, it's hot, but it's still beautiful. So without further ado, wait for fuel truck to get here and we'll fuel up. All right, everybody, I kind of failed. And like I said, I did not do a vlog, and I really wish I did. And I like I told you, I think it was like 4 or 5 vlogs ago, I said I picked the absolute worst month ever to vlog and to decide, yeah, I want a daily vlog for 30 days. So you know what? It's really tough, but this one's gonna be kind of like a more or less of a shorter vlog, but I'm still doing one here for y'all because here's basically what's been going on. So, there's a lot of things about helicopter flying that I had zero clue about until I just started getting into it. And, you know, some stuff I wish I knew, some stuff I wish I didn't know. And that's for another video. But I'm going to go through something really quickly here. So there's a lot of stuff that you may or may not know about helicopters. And if you do, skip through this video, probably not any interest to you. But one of the things that is really interesting about helicopter, there are tons of controls and there's lots of inputs that are always being put in all the time. I think, you know, when you do, there's this maneuver that they call it, and it's an emergency procedure is technically what this is called, but it's called an auto rotation. And an auto rotation is simply when you're flying in the air, and I actually, until I started looking into helicopters, I used to think helicopters were like the most dangerous thing on planet Earth. I'm like, always wanted to fly one, but never understood how they actually work. And I've got a hell of a lot more respect for them now that I know, okay, this is how these actually like operate and this is how it all works. So let's say that we're up, let's just say 1,000 feet AGL, which AGL means above ground level, and the engine just quits. So this actually has a free spooling, I don't even know how to say this properly, I just read it in the book, but it's like almost like a freewheeling clutch system in there. So like, let's say like you're riding your bike and you know how you let off the, or you stop pedaling and you can still go forward without pedaling. That's basically what this is. If the engine were to ever go out in this thing, your main rotor and obviously your tail rotor, which are connected to each other, that will continuously spin. And the number one thing you have to do, and maybe I come inside the helicopter here and show you all this. So basically, you're in the cockpit like this, and oh, please work. All right, I think this might work. So basically, you're sitting in here. You got your cyclic right here. Your collective is down here, which you guys can't see, but you're pulling collective through takeoff and all that. And once you get like a good power setting where you're actually like going through the air, you don't really mess with that unless your altitude's high or low. So that's kind of what controls that. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey. Let's say the engine quits, boom, out. You have about less than 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds to lower the collective all the way down. You want to nose forward. You want to have your airspeed either, you know, somewhere between 60 and 70. 65 and 70 is like the sweet spot. But basically, and I might actually put this in maybe tomorrow's video because I think this is the most like fascinating stuff ever. But we would basically glide the helicopter. It doesn't really glide that well, but it does. It's a weird deal. You have to keep the blades spinning, right? And you lower in collective, catches the air, helps spin the blades as if the engine were still running. It's not an indefinite amount of time whatsoever. But as you start getting closer to the ground, you're gonna flare, and you're carrying like a lot of speed. You think you're gonna like freaking plummet to the ground. You flare the helicopter like this, and as soon as it gets down to the ground, you're gonna lower or raise the collective, and you know, best with the cyclic, forward, backward, whatever you need really to kind of cushion, not the blow, that's a terrible word, but cushion the landing, and you might be like skidding on your skids. So it's super cool. I think I've done 6 of them now total. And it's now we do what we call a full power recovery. Basically, before we like were to skid along the ground, we actually recover the helicopter and go on from there. Because you don't want to like really practice them because you know, the more you're doing something dangerous, the more likely something bad is prone to happening. So anyway, I think it's completely fascinating. There's also hover autos that we've done too. So like, let's say you're in a hovering, or excuse me, 3 feet off the ground. There's procedures and maneuvers that you have to do with all the controls at one time. Like you have a split second, like literally a split second. Or, you know, you could basically go and hit the ground. You could catch a skid, dynamic rollover, the helicopter flips, blades go everywhere, you know. There is a lot to this. So I am fascinated by helicopters beyond belief. And again, I used to think, oh, well, if the engine quits, you're just gonna plummet right out of the sky. Not the case. But in some cases, that is the truth, actually. If you do not, it's not like, you know, for instance, okay, there's probably a plane about to take off right now. Let's see. Yep, all right, perfect. That jet right there. All right, so for instance, let's just say that jet is going to travel once it gets up to cruising altitude, I don't know, just 18,000 feet, 20,000 feet, whatever it might be, 30,000, whatever it is. And they have an engine go out. Well, let's still have one left that can kind of aid them to get to a safe landing. Or let's say both of them go out. Maybe it's a single engine plane. Maybe the engine just goes out completely and you're way high up. Altitude is your friend at that point. The only time altitude is not your friend in a helicopter is if you're on fire. Because you want to get down to the ground like ASAP, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So I've learned a lot about the inner workings of helicopters. But what I really, like I told you all, I've been fascinated with this stuff forever. But I never looked into it, never learned anything, never really, you know, never really worried about trying to figure out, well, how's the plane work? Or how's, you know, the symmetry of lift? And, yeah, there's probably, I don't know how many terms that we have to learn as a helicopter pilot, but there's probably 1,000, I would say, of things you have to know. But, so another thing I'll show you all with this is actually pretty cool. So in here in the cockpit, when you're doing your pre-flights, and there's some helicopter pilot out there watching this right now, I have these seatbelts unbuckled for a reason, and my wife is calling me, so let me stop the video and we'll continue. All right, we're back. Savannah wanted to FaceTime me, so that's what that call was about, which is so cool. But anyway, basically what I'm talking about in here, usually you have all these belts that are all clipped together and whatnot, but I'm going through these seats and cleaning out some stuff that I need and don't need, and you always want to keep your logbooks, registration, all this stuff. There's so many things that you have to do as far as a helicopter goes. I got to put my hat back on here. Or just, you know, anybody in aviation knows, like, anything that you're doing, everything is so strict. I mean, this is not like your car where you're like, oh, you know, I mean, maybe I should, you know, get my car inspected next week. Like, when you do an inspection on these, they call it an annual, so you have to get an annual inspection. It's basically anywhere from like $4,000 to $6,000 minimum. Like, I know I've heard some people that are like, oh yeah, I got my annual done on my helicopter for like $3,000, and then I ask people that own helicopters, and they're like, no, it's not even close. It's like $5,000 basically. There is a ton of cost in owning a helicopter. I knew it going into it, and listen, I've owned a helicopter now for like 4 days, whatever it is. I know like the debt expenses. I know hourly costs, how much it is to run. I know insurance and all that kind of stuff. I personally feel like those type of videos explaining cost and breaking down like what it actually costs to own a helicopter, is interesting. I don't know if you guys are interested in it, but if you are, I will 100% break that video down for you and kind of show you everything. But yeah, this is a freaking cool feeling right here. So I'm about to close up the hangar here, head back to the hotel, and I might go through some of the ideas, or actually, you know what, I'm gonna finish this video off right here so that way I can edit it when I get back to the hotel and upload this. And hopefully it makes today, but if you're like, CJ, you didn't miss a day, it's because I uploaded this in a correct time. But there's a lot of content that I'm about to do with this helicopter here, and it's not necessarily just to get me back and forth between my businesses. This is kind of a content machine right here. There's a lot of places that I would love to be able to go, but a couple of things are kind of hinder that. The number one thing that hinders my travel is the time it takes to travel, which you know, can easily be achieved in a helicopter. You know, I'm not saying you can get there in, you know, a land speed record by any means, but when you're not dealing with traffic or TSA, security, all that kind of stuff, obviously there is some travel forms when it's like long distance that makes sense. But you know, if it's a couple hours away, I'm gonna hop in this thing and be there in literally a quarter of the time. So there's a couple of places and trips that I already have planned, and basically I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna put all my camping gear in this helicopter, and yeah, I mean, it's minimal camping gear because you can't fit like a whole hell of a lot of stuff in there. But yeah, I'm gonna land this thing in some remote areas. We're gonna go and fly around, and we're gonna go see some cool places together, all of you and me. And that's the cool part, is like, I've looked for people on YouTube that do like helicopter content, and it's just like nobody really exists for it, I guess, in a way that is compelling, I should say. I don't know, maybe I'll run across the channel now that I've said it. My phone's listening to me like, oh yeah, CJ, let's show you a good helicopter channel. Hopefully it is, I don't know. But there's a lot of people like in airplane, I call them airplane channels, but like aviation channels that just fly like, you know, Cub planes and all that kind of stuff. Those are really cool. But yeah, as far as helicopter content, there's really not a whole lot of people doing it. I mean, I know Heavy D Sparks does, but he's like recovering stuff, which is absolutely sick. But I'm talking like an adventure type of channel where, you know, I load up Sonny and I, and we fly somewhere remote. We spend the night there for 24 hours, or maybe it's an abandoned spot somewhere out west that, you know, would take a long time to get there by car. We can get there by helicopter. It's a sporty mode of transportation, I can't lie. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna pretty much wrap this up. If there's any content that you guys are like, CJ, you should really do this with your helicopter, comment below, let me know right now. And then it's like anything, every vehicle I own, I mean, you guys named all the camper vans, all the vans, the trucks, everything along those lines. We're gonna need a name for this. And I don't even know what in the world we can call it, but that's gonna be mainly up to you all. So I'm sorry for the short video today. Do know I appreciate you, I love you. I am being trained to fly this helicopter by a very, very, very experienced pilot, and that is why the vlogs are kind of lacking, and at least in length. But also, for tomorrow's video, if y'all don't mind, comment below right now what you want it to be about, helicopter related, aviation related, whatever. I'm gonna introduce you all to Alan. I'm gonna also obviously introduce you all, well, I don't, what day? I'm so confused on what day it is. Hang on. So my CFI Mike, we'll talk to him, we'll get his opinion and whatnot, but yeah, we're gonna get everybody on camera tomorrow that's involved in this whole organization here in Texas, which is so cool. And without further ado, I love y'all so much. I'll see y'all tomorrow.